Summer is finally here, and that means it is time for you to prepare for the basketball offseason. So, in today's video, I'm going to walk you through a full system to having an amazing basketball offseason, and I'm going to show you something that most players don't think about that can really move the needle for you and help you in getting ahead of everybody else in just one summer. That's what I did when I was a sophomore in high school. I went from scoring 13 varsity points in my sophomore year to 410 in my junior year. Then being crowned my team's MVP, making first team all conference. This stuff works, man. Alright, so let's dive right into it. So we're splitting the offseason into 3 different categories. We got skills training, we got lifting, and we got recovery. And I love to keep things simple, as you know, so frequency, intention, and discipline are the same all across the board. So, let's start with skills training, right? For skills training, if you have a lot of time in the day, you can get a lot of workouts in, maximize that time. Also, make sure that when you schedule your workouts, don't do too much to the point where it burns you out, right? If you don't obsess over basketball in the way that somebody like a Kobe Bryant would, don't try to schedule 4 workouts a day because you're going to fall off that consistency and then it's just not going to help you in the long term. So for most of the people that I train and work with, I suggest 1 to 2 per day if you can stick to it. Now, if you're really obsessed with basketball, you can get up to 2 to 3, like I said, or 3 to 4, right? Figure out what it is for you. Now, that's the frequency. Now, let's talk about intention, because this is not spoken of enough. Everybody has a specific skill that they're really good at in basketball, or at least they have the potential to do that. For me, it's my shooting. I'm not the fastest or the strongest guy out there, but I can make a defense pay if they don't play high-pressure defense on me. So my intention in the offseason is always my shooting. So I set that intention. Also, with my skills this offseason, I want to be able to bring up the ball and get into our offense, right? Do those things. So I'm going to work on my ball handling too. Those are my 2 intentions in my training. So when I structure my workouts, I'm not going to have a mix of everything. A lot of players do that, and that's fine. You can do that sometimes, but I find that when you have one single intention in your training, you get a lot more out of it. So one of the workouts, let's say I have 2 workouts a day, right? Not including lifting. I'll get to that later. Let's say I have 2 skills workouts a day. One of them will be shooting, so I'll put an S for that. One of them will be shooting, then the next one will be ball handling. All right, I'm not mixing the 2 together right now because I want to get as many reps as possible for both. If I was to do a ball handling and shooting workout where I did a double cross, hezzy shot, but I can't move on to the next drill until I make it, well, I might not get as many reps compared to just shooting. All right, let me make 5 in this spot, 5 in this spot, 5 in that spot, and then after my shooting workout, I'll take a little second, take a little breather. Then I'll go into my ball handling where I do 100 of each type of move. All right, the next is discipline. There's going to be some days where your body's a little bit sore, you're feeling a bit tired, but you just need to put in the work. Now, I'm going to jump to recovery for a second. With recovery, you need to have the discipline to recover. There are going to be some days where you actually have to take a rest day. That's something I didn't do very well when I was younger, but I've gotten older and I've prioritized my rest. You know your body more than anybody else, and you know your own limits. Yes, a lot of people will tell you, like the David Goggins, can't hurt me, I never take rest days, I never take breaks, never take days off. That's great, but in reality, you do need rest. So if your body's really jacked up, take a rest day, all right? Have the discipline to rest, especially if you have an injury. Let's say you twisted your ankle and you're in a boot for a few weeks. Sit in a chair while you do ball handling. Don't try to force, running on that injury, right? Have some discipline in that area. All right, so we got the skills training done with. Now let's talk about lifting. It's the same exact thing. Once again, frequency, intention, discipline. So frequency. Depending on how old you are, I would say that can determine how frequent you work out. Where I am right now, I'm going into college and I'm on the road to college basketball, as y'all know. I'm working out 6 days a week in the gym. So I have 3 days on, 1 rest day, 3 days on. And I'm lifting heavy. I'm going till failure with all my workouts. It's very energy consuming. And that's one of the reasons why I'm not doing 3 to 4 workouts for skills training every day. I'm doing 1 to 2. Because my focus for right now, my intention is focused on getting my body conditioned and ready to play at the collegiate level. So let's say you're 15 years old right now and you want to get in the weight room. Great. I think a perfect amount of weightlifting for you is 3 times a week. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That's what I did. Whether you want to do plyometrics or just standard lifting is up to you. My suggestion is to mix in both. So let's say you have an upper-lower split, and on the 3rd day of that week, you do plyometrics. So Monday will be upper body lifting, Wednesday will be lower body lifting, and then Friday you'll have plyometrics, you'll have foam rolling, you'll have a lot of mobility stuff. I think that's a really good split for younger guys. Now, if you're in a similar situation to me, as I said, right, so this is Y for youngins, and then O for old heads and unks. For me, like I said, I'm doing 6 times a week right now. As the season gets closer, because we're, about 6 to 8 months out right now, as the season gets closer, I'm going to prioritize my skills training more and have my lifting be a little bit less. I'll probably decrease it to 5 days a week or something, but I'll figure that out as I get there. But for right now, my focus, my intention is conditioning and strength. So let's move on to intention right now because I just spoke of it. All right, we got our frequency. Now, what is your intention with lifting? Do you want to increase your strength, your balance, your mobility, your explosiveness? You have to figure that out because if you don't have an intention while you work out, it may not translate to the basketball court. No matter what weight training you do, it's going to benefit you, but you want to maximize it because I'm going to tell you guys something that's going to really help you in pushing the needle after this little chart here. But for right now, we'll keep that on the back end. Just pay attention for right now. So let's say you want to increase your explosiveness, right? Well, the way to do that is lower weight, higher reps, faster speed. So let's take squats, for example. If you wanted to increase your explosiveness, doing a 1 rep max of squats may not be the best thing for you. What will help is saying, okay, what's my 1 rep max? Let's say, 225 is your 1 rep max because, let's say you're 15, 16, 17, whatever. 225 is a 1 rep max for you. Well, go maybe 50 to 75 pounds lighter. And what you'll find is you can do those reps much faster and you can get more speed behind it. So on your squat, go down slow, and then once you reach the bottom of that squat, explode out of the bottom position. That's going to help you with that explosiveness. Now, if you want to increase your strength, yeah, maybe those 1 rep maxes are going to help a ton, and you progressive overload as you go. By the way, if you don't know what progressive overload is for lifting, that's in just the most simple terms, increasing either the amount of reps you do, the weight that you use, or improving your form. So let's say bicep curls, right? Because everybody knows bicep curls. 2 weeks ago, you started out with, 10 pounds on a 10-pound dumbbell. Then 1 week later, you went up to the 15s. Then on the current week, you're now at 20. That means you progressively overloaded, right? You increased the load of the weight. Let's say you were at 20 for all 3 weeks, but every week you started out with 6, 8 reps, 10 reps. That's progressive overload with the amount of reps that you do. Now form, let's say you use 20 pounds, but you're really cheating with the weight, right? Maybe by week 2 and 3, your lift got much smoother and better form. You overloaded with better, proper form. Make sure not to ego lift, by the way. Don't put too much weight on the bar that you can't handle. All right. So, explosiveness, lower weight, higher reps, more speed, strength. You can get those 1-rep maxes and progressive overload. Balance and mobility, I'm going to put these in the same category. Oh, wow, that's great handwriting. Balance and mobility, that's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to focus on, well, balance and mobility. So let's say you want to improve your balance on your left foot. Well, you're probably going to do things that require you to balance on one foot. If you've ever seen those things in the weight room, they have like those little half yoga balls. It's like a yoga ball on one side and then the bottom half is flat. Maybe you stand on those for like 15 seconds with one foot on it and one foot in the air. You can look up this sort of stuff online. You'll be able to find full workouts for balance and mobility, but set the intention. All right. Next is discipline. Dude, same thing with the skills training. Some days you're just not going to feel like lifting, but you know your body more than anybody. You have to put in the reps and, of course, also know when you can't. All right. Don't be stupid. Be smart, but have that discipline. All right. Let's talk about recovery. Frequency. I would recommend getting at least 8 to 10 hours of sleep every night. I didn't do that when I was younger, and I paid the price for it. I had games when I was younger during the regular season where I just didn't sleep very well the night before, and I didn't play very well. My decision-making was bad. My confidence was low. I just doubted myself. I was all in my head. Not very good. All right. Prioritize your sleep and make sure you have good diet, right? I would recommend tracking your calories. If you want a free app to do it, just go on MyFitnessPal. It's free. It's easy to use. You might have to guesstimate how many ounces of food you ate or whatever when it asks for the measurements. Just try your best. But it doesn't have to be exact. Just start tracking it so you pay attention to it. Now, intention. Make sure to set aside time to rest and take a breather. Sometimes basketball can burn you out, not just physically, but also mentally. So make sure you have time with your buddies to hang out, goof off, be yourself, have fun, do other things. Because, you know, when basketball becomes the only thing you do and it becomes something that you feel like you have to do or you should do, it becomes a chore. So if you don't want to get burnt out, make sure it's something that you can do, not something you have to do. All right. Now let's talk about the next thing that really is going to set you apart from everybody else. All right, so the next thing we are going to talk about is leverage. Now, I know this chart looks very complex, but it's really simple. So in your basketball journey and in life, you want to do high leverage tasks because they will allow you to give less energy for more results. So let's say we had 2 basketball players that were trying to get better. They're training in the off season, right? Now, one player works out for 5 hours a day, and he doesn't have an intention. He doesn't train at game speed. He's not really maximizing his training time. Let's say we get somebody else who trains for half that amount of time, 2.5 hours, but he has intention, and he trains at game speed. Who do you think is going to improve more in the long term? My guess is this guy right here. Wow, that arrow was great. This guy right here. Because he has leverage with every activity he does. So every rep gives him more than the other guy. So make sure in your off season to do things that are high leverage activities. If you're doing some drill that has little to no benefit to you, there's probably no reason to do that drill. But if you have the opportunity to get 100 shots up, do it. That's going to help you. That's high leverage. Focus on high leverage tasks and don't get lost in the sauce when you see all this stuff on social media that's like, oh, if you want to get better at basketball, you got to do 10 spin moves into a backflip around 5 cones, throw it off the backboard. Like, you don't need to do all that. Do stuff that is simple and translates to the games. I hope this full guide helped you. And if you like my videos, you like my content, be sure to subscribe, Also, if you would like me to work with you, if you would like me to coach you, click that link in the description. We can get that going, man. But as always, keep God first. Stay blessed, bro. I love y'all, man.